The New York Islanders get a first look at their young prospects at rookie camp, and there are some familiar faces there to help. Plus, one prospect who is European says he's staying in North America this season. We've got all that and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. And you could also find us now on SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just do a search for Locked On Islanders. Plenty to discuss on today's show. Rookie camp well underway. We'll have some reports from there. But first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, send us an email at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYRVSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings from rookie camp to training camp, preseason, and all throughout the upcoming NHL season. So make sure you join us for that, and looking forward to the 2023-2024 NHL campaign. Hope everybody had a good weekend, and for those celebrating a very happy and a healthy new year. Islanders camp underway. The rookies reported. They've been skating. There are some nice quotes and stories from there, and I'll tell you, there are things to like coming out of Islanders rookie camp. And, you know, to me, seeing that happening and seeing the players out there on the ice, always just a real plus. And look, you got some former Islanders with a lot of experience, two veteran defensemen in Johnny Boychuk and Dennis Seidenberg. They are out there with the prospects and basically just, you know, helping them get acclimated and learn what it takes to be an NHL player. And that's what you need. And whether or not Boychuk and Seidenberg play major roles with the team once the season gets underway, having them there at camp is just definitely a really good thing to see with this team. And, you know, Aiden Fulp, who is here, he said, I think having guys like Johnny here and Dennis Seidenberg really helped. Those guys have been in every situation you can imagine. They're seeking us out on the ice. Like, we don't always have to go to them. They know if something's up. And I think that's a huge testament to the program. Bringing in guys like that to help the new guys shows their commitment and their level of dedication in helping the new guys to develop. So I like it. And, you know, having those two guys there just helps the Islanders make that adjustment, helps these young kids grow and feel comfortable. And, you know, the good thing about having Seidenberg and Boychuk there, you can go talk to them or they can go talk to you, but it's not the same as talking to either an assistant coach or a head coach. And there's maybe a little bit more of a comfort level there. So I kind of like that aspect of everything. And, you know, that's the kind of thing that you really want to hear. So good to see it, and good to have the Islanders saying the right things and doing the right things right now. You know, kind of fun to hear from Matthew Maggio. And we all know it is not going to be easy for any of these young players to make the big team. But for Maggio, this is his second prospect camp or rookie camp. And, he has had a great season last year with Windsor. And now after playing 3 games for Bridgeport last year with 2 assists in those games, he is making an attempt to really make the big team. And, he spoke to the Hockey News and basically said, it's definitely kind of a 180 coming in here. Last year, I didn't know anyone. I just kind of tried to do my own thing, keep my head up and work. And now he says it feels different. I've been here for quite a bit now and just starting to skate with the team and scrimmage with the team and see how I fare with them. See what they're working on after practice has been a great opportunity. So I think coming here, there's definitely a new comfort level that I feel on and off the ice. And yet, Maggio basically is saying that he wants to make the big club. And here's the quote: "I'm not coming here to have a big camp and go to Bridgeport. I'm coming here to push for a roster spot. Where I am now, right now, I have full confidence in myself to be able to do that, or at least push as hard as I can for one and give the coaches a hard time." Look, we know that the Islanders prospects are facing a difficult and uphill task. Lou Lamoriello, GM of the Islanders, he likes his veterans. This is a team that even with Zach Parise not coming for training camp is more or less set as far as the roster is concerned. And yet, here is Matthew Maggio, confident, eager, ready to get out there and just do what he needs to do. And I think, here's another quote from Maggio that I really liked. "I have the same confidence in my skill set, but now I can just show it a little bit more. I don't think I'm as afraid to make mistakes." And look, I think that's all part of the development curve. Last year, Maggio was here for the first time. Everything was new for him. This year, he knows more of the players. He knows the coaches a little better. He's played a handful of games at the AHL level, so he's played professionally now, which is certainly not something he could say a year ago. And while he knows this is by far an uphill battle, he also knows what he can do and what's expected of him. And I think he is sort of taking that next step forward. Look, whether he is ready to make the team this year, I think that still remains to be seen. If I were, going to place a bet, I would say no, but his attitude is the right attitude. And I think part of it is this: his job in rookie camp and then in training camp is to make the decision of the general manager and the coaching staff as difficult as possible when they have to determine whether or not to send him down to Bridgeport. And it goes a step further. If Matthew Maggio or William Dufour or Ruslan Iskakov, those are the 3 big forward prospects fighting for an outside shot at a roster spot, even if they don't make the team out of training camp, who's going to be the first guy called up when there's a slump or an injury? Who is going to be next in that hierarchy? How you play and perform in rookie camp and training camp and preseason helps make that impression. So opportunity is there, and obviously the attitude is to make the most of that opportunity. We have got more to get to on today's show. We are going to talk a little bit about a European prospect who just signed with the Islanders, who said he's staying in North America this year, whether he makes the Isles or not. We've got that, plus our Islanders birthday of the day, and a whole lot more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase Case. The Jase Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you're not just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand. Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get unprepared. Don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using code LOCKEDON at checkout on jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com, promo code LOCKEDON. So some news also coming out of camp that I was certainly happy to hear about, and that is that one of the Islanders' European prospects is going to be staying in North America this year. That is Eetu Liukas. And, he was a 5th-round pick back in 2021, played well in Finland and in international competitions. But now the question becomes, where does he go next? Well, Liukas basically making the announcement, I'm staying here. I'm not going back to Europe. I will stay here. He is 20 years old, and so far, he seems to be really taking to life with the Islanders organization. So good so far. I'm enjoying my time here a lot. All the people here are so nice, and obviously the facilities here are so good. So I am enjoying my time. And look, Liukas right now probably projects as a bottom 6 forward, at least initially. And that seems to be the way he's thinking. He said, I'm a bottom 6 player. I think my strengths are there, playing physical, and I play a good 2-way game. I'm not afraid to score either, so let's see. But I think my strengths are bottom 6. He said, I feel a lot more comfortable here than in Europe. My strengths are being physical, being good in the battles, and winning those. And if you think about it, that is the kind of player that the Islanders are more likely to keep around. And we saw it last year with Simon Holmstrom, who we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the show. But Holmstrom didn't provide much offensively, but he was sound positionally and got back and back-checked and did what he needed to do in his own zone, and that kept him in the lineup, rightfully or wrongfully. I know a lot of people didn't like him being brought out there game after game, but that's what Lou Lamoriello and Lane Lambert and company kind of look for when they are looking at a young prospect. So to me, Liukas seems to be having the right attitude. And whether or not he makes the team, and I seriously don't think he'll make it this year, but certainly he is helping his chances by looking at it as, hey, I am going to be that defense first, physical, bottom 6 kind of player, and thereby get an opportunity to play sooner. If you are a goal scorer, we have seen in this organization that either it takes you longer to earn the confidence of the coaching staff, or you don't even get a real opportunity to earn it at all. And that is, I think Liukas definitely doing the right thing by staying in North America as far as helping his chances to make the big club, and by saying, hey, I'm here to work, I'm here to check, I'm here to dig in the corners and be a bottom 6 guy, be physical. That will maximize his chances. Also, look for Liukas to start the season in Bridgeport and then to build on that. And again, hopefully earn a shot at some point during the season if injuries hit and he is needed to be called up. If not, enjoy your first full North American pro season, and playing in Bridgeport is definitely a plus at this stage of the 20-year-old's development. One other note that is a little disappointing, and it is something that I really still don't get. John McClain back with the Islanders coaching the power play. And in his press conference to open training camp, Lou Lamoriello basically saying he wasn't worried about the power play. Well, look, maybe he has to say that, but I still don't understand why a change wasn't made. Yes, the lack of a sniper and the lack of elite scoring talent, especially after Barzal got hurt last year, definitely had something to do with the struggles of the power play. But let's face it, even before Matthew Barzal got hurt, this power play was not even in the top half of the National Hockey League. And it went beyond the lack of talent, although, again, that was definitely part of the problem. But the lack of originality, the lack of variety in the approach, in the entry to the zone, in the way that this team went about operating the power play was also part of it. And, you know, everydayers, you have heard me dating back to last season and maybe even further back than that, saying that this team needs to move the puck faster, pass it faster. They need to have more variety in their zone entries. It can't just be Barzal skating the puck in or the dump and chase, which seems to be the only two things they ever do 95% of the time on the power play. And then the players need to move without the puck. The power play is predominantly an opportunity to create a breakdown, to create time and space and get a man open for a very high quality scoring opportunity. One player should be open at all times. And by moving when you don't have the puck, and by moving the puck quickly with cross ice fast passes, you tire out the penalty killers, you make them move, and you get them out of position, and you get a player open in a high danger scoring area. Needless to say, if you go back and watch the power play from last year, this happened way too infrequently. And I would really have preferred a new assistant coach in charge of the power play. You know me, everydayers, I don't like to call for people to be fired. I have nothing personal against John McClain. I just didn't like the results. And I hope he's able to turn it around this year. And it will take a few things, including learning how to use Bo Horvat on the power play, getting Noah Dobson coached up as the power play quarterback in a better situation. And it will take a lot more than that to really get this team to even have an average power play this year. But I'm hoping we see it. And again, kind of disappointed that no move was made. Still hoping for the best, but can't say I'm overly optimistic. We have got more to get to on today's show. We're going to talk a little bit about Simon Holmstrom, who is trying to make the team willy. Is there a spot open? Can he improve on last year's disappointing offensive performance? Plus, our Islanders' birthday of the day, a player who is better remembered as a New Jersey Devil, a bottom six forward who joined the Islanders for a little more than a season in the late 1990s. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including point spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. And hey, you could even bet on futures for the Islanders this season. So go to FanDuel and check it out. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So, Simon Holmstrom played a lot of hockey, 50 games for the Islanders last year. Only 6 goals and 9 points. Not exactly numbers that you want from a guy who was a former number 1 draft pick. And he was a -4, which is fairly respectable. Oh, by the way, did I mention 0 penalty minutes? And yeah, only 9 hits in 50 games. He did block some shots, 22 of those, but not a physical guy in the sense of being out there to hit opponents, not providing a lot of offense. He was out of the lineup a lot more down the stretch after Pierre Engvall was acquired at the trade deadline, and then he did not appear in the playoffs. And I guess the question becomes whether or not Simon Holmstrom has more to offer this team. And I think he does, but I think he was really rushed to the NHL last year. They needed somebody there to, to kind of fill in a position. And the fact that he was defensively sound put him out there. But look, even in Bridgeport, his numbers were better, but 3 goals, 5 points in 16 games last year. Go back to 2021, 2022, 12 goals, 43 points in 68 games. These are respectable numbers, but not the kind of numbers you expect from a number 1 pick who may become a scorer. I think Simon Holmstrom is going to be a 3rd line or 4th line, more likely a 3rd line kind of player if he has a future in the NHL. And he is the oldest guy, not in age necessarily, but oldest guy as far as NHL experience is concerned on the rookie camp roster. And he's there a little bit as a mentor, as a guy who's going to help some of these younger players to acclimate, who, he is like the big brother because he's been to the NHL, played most of a season there. He can help them, and he could also certainly help some of the European players adjust to the narrower rink and the different style of play in the National Hockey League. So having Holmstrom there both gives him some extra reps and helps him work on his game before training camp gets underway, and it also allows him to mentor some of the other rookies who have less experience in camp. I think Holmstrom starts the season in the AHL unless he really, really shines in training camp, because the Islanders can send him down and then bring him back up without placing him on waivers. And that is a big deal for this team with the roster pretty well set. I would say, if there's 18 skaters on the opening day roster, I would say 16 of those spots are more or less solidified, and the team has a pretty good idea who the other 2 are going to be. There are always surprises, but to me, you don't want to risk losing a guy on waivers. The fact that Holmstrom can be sent down without having to go through waivers, to me, means that barring that really, really good performance, and I mean like outstanding in training camp, he is going to start the season back in Bridgeport. Maybe not. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he gets a call up during the season, but that's the story right now. All right, time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And today is the 57th birthday of former Islanders winger Tom Chorske. Chorske, a first-round pick of the Canadiens back in 1985, spent 3 years, at the University of Minnesota, made his NHL debut with the Habs back in 1989-90, went on to the Devils in 91-92, and won a cup with the Devils in 94-95, then played for the Senators and joined the Islanders for the 1997-98 season. Had 12 goals, 35 points in 82 games, a +7 that year for the Isles, a team that did not make the playoffs. He played 2 games for the Islanders the following year, picked up an assist, and then finished out his career with the Capitals, the Flames, and the Penguins. His last NHL season, 1999-2000, spent the following year with the Houston Aeros of the IHL, but that was it. Now, the native of Minneapolis, Minnesota, enjoyed some good games with the Isles, including March 18th, 1998 at the Corel Center in Ottawa. Senators and Islanders. Wade Flaherty, the goalie for the Islanders. Damian Rhodes started for Ottawa, but Ron Tugnut did replace him. And in this game, Tom Chorsky had 2 goals. They were both unassisted. This game was frustrating for the Islanders. The 2 goals helped them take a 4-0 lead early in the third period, and then 4 goals by the Senators caused this one to end in a tie. I hate to say it, but Alexei Yashin assisting on one of those goals. So a future Islander at that point. Wade Flaherty made 38 saves. Islanders were outshot 42-24. But for Tom Chorsky, 2 goals. He was a +1. They both came at even strength, and they came on 4 shots on goal. So Tom Chorsky is our Islanders' birthday of the day. He turns 57 today, and we wish him all the best. I want to thank everybody for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Every dayers tomorrow on the show, we have more from Islanders camp. So we'll have all the latest updates, some quotes, and try to give you an idea of who's shining and who's not, plus all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. Again, we are back on our Monday through Friday schedule, so make sure you subscribe to get new episodes as soon as they drop. And remember, we're here every weekday this week, so join us for that. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening, and of course, let's go Islanders.